Good afternoon. Welcome to today's webinar from the Mary H. Weiser Food Allergy Center at the University of Michigan. This monthly series was created to help patients and their families cope with the social and emotional challenges of living with food allergy. I am the clinical social worker on our multidisciplinary team at the clinic. In my role, I provide patients and families the tools to manage food allergy-related anxiety and navigate challenges from diagnosis through adulthood. My role was established through a gift from the Weiser Center. We are proud to provide a holistic approach to managing food allergy with a team comprised of an allergist, nurse educator, dietitian, research coordinator, and counselor. The center was recently named a Discovery Center of Distinction by the advocacy group FAIR in recognition of their advances into biomedical research into the origin and treatment of food allergy. Visit uofmfoodallergy.org to learn more about our center. Our conversation today would not be complete without your participation. Send your questions using the Q&A function. We'll take your questions throughout the hour. Today, I am thrilled to have Debbie Makkonen with me. Debbie is a master's prepared licensed marriage and family therapist and professional counselor licensed in Michigan. She has worked in the mental health field for over 20 years with families, couples, and individuals. She has a private practice, holistic psychotherapy for mind, body, and spirit, which she opened in 2013. She continues to see patients today, mostly through virtual care using Zoom. She can see clients throughout the state of Michigan. Debbie and I have been colleagues for over 15 years. We've led mindfulness groups together and collaborated closely in patient care. She is a very respected clinician in the Upper Peninsula and across the state, frequently consulted by health providers. We welcome Debbie. Thank you for being here with us today. All right, I think you're unmuted. Thank you for being here.
It's one of those things with Zoom. Thank you for inviting me.
So can we start today? You know, we're going to be talking about families trying to navigate healthcare for their children, and specifically people tuning in have an interest in how to manage food allergy when you are co-parenting. And I think we can extend it out to look at, you know, when there are special health needs, when people are managing particular concerns, they might have fears around their child's health. So, and then they're in a situation where they're parenting with somebody who they may in the past have not gotten along with very well, and maybe today aren't getting along with very well. So I'm just going to ask you to kind of start, what is your perspective when you meet with a family or you talk to somebody who is in this position? What do you try to help them to see? Where can they begin to look at, you know, what is possible?
I think the first place to start is to focus on the child instead of on each other and their relationship, because that's the dynamics that's been set up by the marriage, by the coupling. And if they're struggling with the co-parenting, it generally came from that. So instead of focusing on each other and what each other are doing in the situation, putting your focus on the child and what's to the best health benefit of the child in this case.
What are some of the things you've seen that kind of the patterns and habits people might get into when they're trying to co-parent?
Well, one of them is a control issue. Either person needing to control the situation or needing to control or feeling like they're being controlled by the other person. So that they get caught up in that instead of what's actually going on with the child. Like, oh, you just want to control her bedtime, or you just want to control the medication I give her and when I give it to her, and that kind of thing. And when the other parent may not be doing that, but because of the past dynamics, that's the belief system that they go into this with.
Sure. So that might give them a particular viewpoint where they believe that I know why I ascribe these motivations. I know why you're doing that, Debbie, because you're trying to control me and my parenting. And so I push back on you rather than looking at, okay, so it sounds like you have a concern about bedtime. How might we look at what's working and not working with bedtime?
Right. So it's a bigger issue than even just the health. It usually plays into all kinds of parts of their lives. But since we're focusing today on the health, and especially allergies where people can die, children can die from this kind of thing, I think it's really important to get them focused on the child, period.
Yes. And at the clinic, one of the ways we will try to help that to happen is encourage people to attend appointments. And so right now you could talk with the allergist by phone. You might ask for a Zoom meeting. So if you're not able to attend in person, it doesn't mean you still can't be actively involved in getting educated. What is my child's food allergy? What are the symptoms? What is the treatment? How would I know how to effectively read labels and keep my child safe? And would I know how to recognize an allergic reaction? Would I know what to do? Do I have the medication with me? Do I know how to access it? So they will urge people, call the clinic, and I wasn't able to attend the appointment. Can I talk to the food allergy nurse? Can I talk to the allergist? Can I talk to Kim? Can I talk about what my questions are? So we will always try to urge that in any way possible to informed parents is your safest bet to trying to ensure the safety of your child. And I think sometimes communication issues can also get in the way of that. People don't want to attend an appointment together. So we will urge them, maybe every other time you attend this appointment, the other parent can attend the next time. But even if you're not attending, you can call. Can we talk about what happened today at Nancy's appointment? What are your recommendations? Has anything changed? What do I need to do? She's with me half time or on the weekends. And through the developmental phases, so infancy, much different. I'm in control of everything, but now they're 8, they're 12. What do I need to know now? So we're in this together for the long haul. What have you seen can go well and not go so well over the course of time people are co-parenting?
Well, I think I like the encouragement of either one to being able to come to the appointment, even if it's by Zoom. This is we've got to look at the blessings in the pandemic, and this is one of them, that everybody got online, so that we've changed the way we work. So that makes it a lot easier for both parents to attend, even if not in person. If either one doesn't want to attend in person, they could still even attend the same appointment and be on the screen. Do you see? So that's really a really, really good resource. The biggest problem I would see with this is one parent completely refusing to participate at all. Mm-hmm.
So
and that does happen in co-parenting.
If we play it out, let's say I'm in the position where that's what I'm noticing, that the person, the father of my child they don't seem interested in learning. I can't actually know for certain whether they're going to carry the EpiPen, whether they're going to be careful with labels. What do I do? So I show up at your office and I say, Debbie, this is what's happening. What do I do? I think that she just can't spend time there anymore. And I'm just focused on all the things that are going wrong. What would you tell me?
Well, first, I loved how you said that. They focus on all the things that are going wrong. So looking at the things that are going right, the one parent you do have contact with, and helping them figure out how to look at it, at the whole situation from a more positive thing and from less anxiety, because anxiety can shut us down. We can't even think about how to alter a situation. Depending on the extent of the health issue, I think that's what I would look at that point of how you get the other parent on board. And one of the ways is through friend of the court, to get the other parent on board with a medical diagnosis that's clearly stated from a physician. This child definitely has this information, this problem, this issue, I'm sorry, and this is what we have to deal with. And you have to either deal with this, or we've got to talk about the parenting time. Maybe she needs to go back to mom's at dinner time to get her medication. You know, maybe mom needs to be able to meet you somewhere to get the medication. Depending on the age of the child, maybe she has to be responsible, or he has to be responsible for carrying the EpiPen, and the other parent being okay with that. So there's a lot of different variables involved, but all of these situations can be worked out as long as everybody involved stay focused on the child and basically calm about the situation. We can't overlook, and you're probably going to get to this, so I don't want to override it, but we can't overlook in the holistic sense, how this stress affects a child with allergies, because stress affects health of everybody in the family. So that's another issue that's huge in this.
So we know one of the things that kids with allergies they can develop anxiety around fear of having a reaction, and then it can be hard to differentiate between my anxiety and the actual symptoms of a reaction. So I'm thinking with what you just said, so now I guess too, the way it's framed too, the way it's talked about. So if I'm going to my mom's house and I've heard a lot about how mom doesn't manage my food allergy well, and you need to be really careful, and or I'm going to dad's and you know, dad doesn't pay attention, you're not safe there, you need to, I could experience a lot of symptoms of anxiety and then have trouble differentiating. So I'm just eating lunch with mom. Am I having a reaction? I'm eating something I eat at my dad's and I've eaten it, but oh no, I'm starting not to feel good. So I think too, we can't overemphasize what you just said in terms of that big impact of stress and how that is going to get in the way of managing any kind of, it's going to exacerbate and get in the way of even being able to see things clearly. So I won't see that I am actually safe, that this isn't a reaction, but that my anxiety, I'm feeling that in my body because I am so worried that I can't eat safely at my other parent. So what else? I guess, what are your thoughts on that? What else?
The other piece of that is it affects the parent who is attempting to follow the doctor's recommendations the same way. Is she seeing things that aren't even there, or is he seeing things that aren't even there? Oh, you came back and you got a cold. Well, something went wrong there, right? Somebody didn't do it right. So it can cause anxiety for that person. The person who's ignoring it is overwhelmed with all this information that they don't want anyway, and that causes the same issues for them, that not seeing it when they would have normally. Again, we're back to that anxiety in this family getting in the way of everything. The intelligence, it takes you to your primitive brain instead of your intellectual brain. What we want to do here is keep everybody in their intellectual brain.
So what would be some ways that we as therapists would advise people to, so we are where we have to start. So I have control over me only. What are some things you try to help people to, skills to cultivate so that they can be better managers of themselves and that stress response?
Well, I think you're in a really good position for that one because of the meditation piece that you're so good at. So it's kind of the meditation, the bringing the calmness into the world, understanding the effect that it has on the child, because the parents are so wrapped up in themselves in these situations that they're not even knowing that this is having that kind of effect on the child. Children, depending on their age, aren't very articulate about what's going on in their fears. And it's just normal to be fearful, you know, to them. So because they're closer to the primitive brain already. So helping the parents understand that that child is having that kind of reaction that you just mentioned through this kind of situation. Again, bringing calmness into the whole situation. If worse comes to worse, 911's available. That's when we go to primitive brain, and that's the only time we should be going to primitive brain. If we need to call 911 because something's happened to this child under any circumstances, of course, that we're aware of. And we don't think like that. We try to call 911 when things just don't go the way we think they should. So anxiety shouldn't be involved in any of this up until that point. And then, yeah, get anxious. If you need to call 911 because your child can't breathe, then you've got a reason to go to your primitive brain, and 911 is the answer.
And that truly being able to accurately discern what is happening, I can't do that if I'm in that overwhelm. So we have a question, excuse me, what about when an ex takes the child to her or his family events and they think food allergies are not real? So that perhaps it's the other parent exaggerating, or making something where something doesn't exist. So I guess the person is asking if there's not buy-in from that part of the family in terms of it being a real life-threatening diagnosis of, for example, peanut allergy. What do we do with that if one parent knows that the child is going to be spending time with their mom or dad's side who don't believe that food allergy exists and it's not real?
Are we talking about the parent not believing or the parent's family not believing?
It looks like, so it says when the ex takes the child to her or his family events.
Okay, well, my first thought is there's a boundary issue if they're not following the parent of the child's word. It doesn't matter what the family believes. My child can't have peanuts, and if you give them peanuts, then we've got to sit down and talk about something, because we're going to be in the emergency room, and you're going with me. I'm not going by myself. So that's where you just get very clear with your family. It doesn't matter whether they believe or not. You can not believe all day long. Do not give this child peanuts.
So that idea around
Empowering.
Yes, empowering the parent to say, okay, this is the information, to be able to maybe share some written information and to be able to say, you know what, this isn't negotiable. This is a diagnosis. And so we have food allergy action plans every parent receives. So one way in this situation is if you can share the food allergy action plan and ask that parent, have you shared a copy of the food allergy action plan with your family, so that they will understand, they were tested through lab work and skin prick testing. They were diagnosed with a dairy allergy, a sesame allergy, a peanut allergy, and we have to avoid that allergen. And one of the best ways to do that in large social situations with a younger child is designate the adult who is the trusted person to be able to give food, and no one else is going to give this child.
Oh, good point. Yes.
So you are in charge of making sure, and just let people know, no one gives food to Bobby. Only I can give Bobby food, because I will have checked it to ensure it is safe for him. And so I like what you said there. Take it out of the, do I agree? Do I not agree? Do I think the other parent is just causing problems? None of that matters. What it is this is a real and present situation. And if we are going to be spending time, I have to have your buy-in that you will take my cue as to how we're going to manage it. And it may also be further, I don't know, in this situation, it may be, and I don't feel like my ex really is taking it as seriously, so how can I trust she or he will do these things with their family? What if what if that is the situation? Like, I don't think Debbie's going to share the food allergy action plan because she doesn't even believe that Nancy has a peanut allergy. She thinks it's a sensitivity or an intolerance.
Oh, okay. You added a little piece there. I thought I was going to answer that, but even if it's a sensitivity, yeah, you did. Even if it's a sensitivity,
yeah,
and the parent doesn't want it given to the child, then it doesn't matter the extreme of it. They're sensitive to it, and I don't want to be up all night in the, taking care of a sick child. Even something as simple as that. So that really doesn't change the dynamics. We're back to the same thing we talked about in the beginning. If they're totally ignoring the fact that this child has something that could cause them to die or be extremely ill, react in even an unpredictable way.
Yes.
So yeah, so we're back to that issue of the parent who does have the information from the physician taking that to the court. I don't like going to the courts. I don't like going to the name's not
Friend of the court.
Friend of the court. Thank you. Mm-hmm. Friend of the court for anything unless it's very, very serious, and this would fall under that very, very serious line. Absolutely. Even though they're there to help, I still think that this is something you don't question. You take the child's health number one important, period.
Right.
You don't negotiate it.
Exactly. So this is if this is an ongoing issue, asking for an appointment, can we sit down at front of the court? Can we talk about why I have the concerns I have? Can we talk about how we can both build some trust that when our child is with my family, when our child is with your family, there's going to be the same level of safety? And what can we do so that I think we begin to look, and we're both therapists, so we always begin to look at where can we help play on the strengths, where can we use the resources at hand, where can we move into a conflict resolution rather than an escalation. We have another question here. So my co-parent belittles or jokes about my anxiety regarding our child's food allergy. I think that makes our child ashamed of taking precautions that he should be taking. How can I explain that making me seem to be overreacting is not helping our child?
That's a good one. Because we can't control the other person and even what they're saying and doing. I think that in this case, it would be a direct link with the child, that it's okay that's just how dad or mom reacts, and when they don't really understand something or they fear something. Mm-hmm. And so it's okay. It's not about you, and it's not even about me. So having that, I wouldn't normally go to a line with the child on something, but this would be the shame issue coming up for the child isn't okay. So that would be a place I would align with the child on this. Yeah, just laugh. I just laugh when he or she says that, because it really doesn't mean anything except for he's insecure or she's insecure about this issue.
Mm-hmm.
So about it, and that's okay.
Yeah. So we just try to make the best of that with, okay, how can the child still do what they need to do, understand how to manage their food allergy, and ask adults for help, even if there is this. I think, though, that makes me think of a question as I said that. So I have heard from parents, I'm worried that this will make my child not tell somebody if they think they're having a reaction, because if they know that, so if it's me, if they know that the mom doesn't really like dealing with the food allergy or doesn't really seem to take it very seriously, is my child going to go and tell Kim if they're having a reaction? If they start to think, even though I was very careful, I think I might have something happen, and I think that I might have, for whatever reason, I might be feeling sick because of something I ate. So what if they don't tell because they think that the other parent might have a negative reaction to that?
Yeah, that's again back to where we can't control another person, or even what the child's doing when the child's not with us. So that's really a serious problem. Again, I'm back to talking to the child if they're old enough to understand that no matter what's going on, it can always be checked out. Let's check it out. Don't ever think that something's going on that we can't look at. And basically trying to educate the child that the most important thing is their health. I can see a lot of problems with this. In other words, focusing too much on it. But I also look at the level of danger involved on how much you focus on it. If they have a peanut allergy and they almost died from it, then you're going to focus. It's okay. It's okay to focus a lot of attention on that. If they're just susceptible to something and it makes them sick to their stomach, what was the word you used earlier? That
Oh, if it's an insensitive.
Yeah, if it's a sensitivity.
Yeah, some kids
like that, then not focusing on it so much under those circumstances would make sense to me.
So it's life-threatening, really helping the child to understand, you know what, you're going to go through your life. Some people are going to understand that your peanut allergy or your sesame allergy is life-threatening and that you always have to be careful about what you eat. You always have to ask about ingredients. You always have to double check. Some people are going to understand that and some people aren't. But all that matters is, you know, this is very real. It's serious for you. And this is the way we manage your food allergy to keep you safe. Yeah. So regardless of what, because it could also be another student at school who's saying, you know, food allergies aren't real. What are you talking about? And the teasing and bullying that we hear about with food allergy. Some people may not understand what you're doing or why you're doing it, but from the time they're young, this is why I do what I do. Someday you're going to do this to keep yourself safe. Some people won't understand, and that's okay. It doesn't mean we can't still ask for help, and that doesn't mean, you know, you're concerned that somebody else might get upset or not like what you're saying is not as important as you keeping safe. So I love what you said. Tell somebody, ask for help, bring it up. That's not your problem. Their reaction is not your problem.
Very good. Yes.
And I know that's hard for kids. If you're with a parent, their reactions are everything. So we know that we're asking kids to navigate something they shouldn't have to navigate. But okay, we have another question. This is great. I feel the need to check in with my child by text quite frequently when they're with the other parent. My child is 11. He has started to object, and so has his other parent. But I worry that they are not being as careful as we are when he is under my supervision. I cannot resist checking every couple of hours that he's okay. And it's causing, let me just scroll down here. I'm guessing it's causing conflict and tension here. Okay, and it's causing issues among all three of us. Does the marital therapist think I'm unreasonable? And I hand it to you, Debbie. What do you think?
Well, I wouldn't say unreasonable because we have a serious issue here that she has the right to be concerned about. But being concerned and reacting to it are two different things. Again, we're back to control issues as far as what does she have control over actually, and she's checking to see if he's okay. If we take this idea take it all the way out, what if he doesn't answer? What if he's not okay? You know?
What's she gonna do?
Right, exactly. There's somebody else in charge of this child, and there's so hopefully another adult in charge of this child. So all she's doing is asking for trouble. Plus, she's not even getting to enjoy her life during the time that that the child is should be enjoying their life with the other parent. So it's taken away from her life, and I think that's what we focus on in that situation. Do you want to give up every minute of your life, or even every 2 hours of your life, when your child's not with you? Because that's not fair to you even.
And I think it's really not ensuring anything.
Right.
So it's that idea of I can be very afraid and very aware of scenarios that are terrifying to me, but is what I'm doing really preventing that? And so I'm thinking, what are some other ways that there might be, with the focus on prevention and keeping safe, what are some other strategies? And so I was thinking, so this child is 11. This child can carry with them in their backpack or in one of the little, I can't find my word, but the flip belts on their waist. They could have it with them all the time. I could have my Benadryl, I could have my EpiPen or my auto injector, and I could have a copy of my food allergy action plan. So preventative and proactive strategies might be, okay, what do you always have with you? Okay, you're putting on your shoes and coat. What else do you always use when you leave this house? I have my flip belt. I have my medication bag in my backpack. Okay. Beyond that, have we practiced at 11? Certainly. Have we practiced using the trainer for the epinephrine auto-injector? Could your child recognize symptoms? Have you role-played? Have you played out some scenarios where they would have to recognize symptoms and use the trainer? Would they be able to recognize they're having a reaction, and would they be able to give themselves the medication? At 11, we want them to be able to do those things. So read the food allergy action plan with them, role play. So Debbie,